Hi, my name is Chris. I am 55 years old, and about 11 days ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD. Before I go any further, I just wanted to make it clear that I am not an ADHD expert, a professional, a therapist, anything like that at all. I am just talking about my own personal experiences so far. Mostly what my videos are going to be about, at least from the beginning, is just kind of connecting dots, name of the channel, of finding out that I have ADHD, things that go along with having ADHD, and then going back and reliving my childhood or just the past in general, starting with my childhood, which is I'm going to talk about school today, and just like connecting those dots of like now it actually is starting to make sense why I am the way that I am, and it's not for reasons that myself or others, mostly myself, thought about. So I guess I could say with that, when I got diagnosed, it kind of was a little bit of a relief. I would say definitely more of a relief than anger of why wasn't I diagnosed with this earlier? How come no one figured this out? I'm definitely just glad that I actually have a reason now. Why now? Of why I am the way that I am, and that it's not that I'm lazy, it's not that I'm unmotivated or anything like that, that most people think, especially ones that get diagnosed later in life, like myself, think that that's the problem. Started this channel, one, to probably for like self-therapy to help talk about things. And then two is the whole reason I even went to get diagnosed is because I saw something on YouTube talking about feeling lazy and feeling like you're not getting anything done and laying around the house and then being mad at yourself for not getting anything done and basically kind of getting depressed in a whole like roller coaster loop, and that could be caused by executive dysfunction, which is under the, I guess, the umbrella of ADHD. So I figured if that's how I found out, maybe if I put some videos out there that someone happens to stumble across and I talk about things that I've gone through, that now all of a sudden they're like, hey, that sounds just like me, and they didn't realize and they haven't been diagnosed, maybe they would go and get, go see someone, take a test, or talk to someone like I did, and get diagnosed, and then be able to start figuring things out on like how they could help, I guess you could say. So that's another reason. But it is a lot to do with the creativity side of ADHDers, or I guess very creative people, which is funny. I'm going to make a whole separate video on that of like how I didn't think I was creative. But then again, talking to people, I have a coach also, and talking about things that like actually I am quite creative. I just never put it out there for anyone to see. And creativity is maybe not exactly what everyone thinks it was. At least it's not what I thought it was or had to be, I guess is a better way to look at it. But yeah, those are all future videos. So, I definitely would love it if you would subscribe and comment on things that you've gone through, or, or like I said, I'm just into this. So anything that you do that, if you have ADHD and you've known for a while and you're already kind of working things out and have some ideas that help you. But really a big part for me is like, if you have anything, any tips or anything for like, I guess, regulating my nervous system, I guess you could say. Like one of the big things that I definitely have found is that, not realizing what it was and just feeling like I just have no energy to do anything, from, things that I've read, is that could just be because of having ADHD. My nervous system is always so constantly stimulated that it could just get exhausting. And like, there's times where I don't even feel I can get out of bed. And I've been tested for Lyme disease. I've been tested for everything, blood tests since I was a teenager, trying to figure out why. And that's, I guess, one of the reasons why I say it's a relief, because if this is it, if it is ADHD, then I know what to do. Like I can start working on that. So again, future videos, again, sorry for the rambling, ADHD trait. So the thing I actually wanted to go over today, and maybe people will recognize this, or comment below if this was you as far as school is concerned. I'm starting in elementary school. I'll kind of go through elementary school, middle school kind of quickly, because then really don't think I noticed anything. I got through school, no problem. Elementary school, for elementary level, I did well. I never had any grade issues. I did have, disciplinary issues. I used to get in trouble. I used to have to sit in the corner by myself, kind of a class clown type of thing, obviously boredom, but nothing, typically that I would say, is ADHD related. I mean, other people without it would be the same. Middle school started to be a little bit of a shift where I was still kind of class clowny type of thing, but I also started to not do too well with my grades, where I used to have to get weekly progress reports to stay on top of things just to make sure that I wouldn't do well. Now, that wasn't anything I chose. That was just like, if you don't do this, my parents were contacted and they said, this is one thing we can do so he doesn't get left back. So, to keep up on his grades, that might help. Nothing about ADHD was ever discussed or anything like that. Again, back then, this was the 70s. I wasn't hyper. I wasn't a hyper kid. And so that's what ADHD, everyone focused more on the hyperness, the hyperactivity, not doing well in school and just being disinterested. That was like middle school. Again, I did okay with the weekly progress reports. I did way better. Like I went from maybe we had a 1 through 4, or a grading system. So 1 would be like an A, maybe a 5, sorry, 5. 5 would be an F. So a 2 would be a B, 3 would be a C, a D would be a 4. And I was like the 3 and 4s is what I would getting, where like in elementary school, I'd be more like 1s and 2s with some 3s, mostly 2s. But now I was probably averaging more 4s and getting some 3s. So some Cs, mostly Ds. But once I started doing the weekly progress reports, I definitely started doing some Bs, mostly Cs. So it definitely kind of brought everything up a little bit, where then I did fine. But really, the thing I wanted to talk about mostly was high school, because that's probably where my ADHD kicked in the most. I was on the 5-year plan in high school. It took me 5 years to graduate high school. I got left back my junior year, and things, slowly started to get worse, where say like my freshman year, barely got by and, squeaked by, passed enough classes to get enough credits to be able to squeak by. So maybe I failed like 2 classes, or maybe 1 class, and then like all Ds with the exception of like gym, where I get an A. Sophomore year started to get a little worse. Now I'm really just getting by enough to graduate to my junior year. So now maybe, failing 2 classes, but all Ds except for gym. So definitely started to get just not doing well, barely getting by, to like my junior year, where like I'll say my first junior year, like I literally got straight Fs except for gym class, but all Fs. And that by that time, I didn't do anything. Like I literally did nothing. I would have a backpack that would have like a sweatshirt in it that I would use as a pillow and just basically just crash out. I was exhausted. I was tired all the time, not interested in anything. And I am going to talk about like some things that, even like my freshman through junior years, and even my senior year, like senior year, I even barely got by. But I was tired all the time, was not interested in anything, barely got by. By junior year, I didn't get by, failed like 5 classes. But some things that now I look back on, realize that it was definitely ADHD. Why that happened is because there were some things during those, years in high school that I did really well and got excited about some things. And there were things that I got to choose what I wanted to do. So like example would be, say I had to get up in front of the class or whatever and do a presentation on something. If it wasn't something I was interested in, I would get such anxiety that I just wouldn't do it. I literally would be like, nope, I'll take the 0 and I'm not going to do it. I would like break out in like a cold sweat if I actually like had to get up there to do something, or at least try to, about something that I really didn't know. And I would be totally just like in shambles and like just couldn't wait for, like literally like would just be sweating, like cold sweat, trying to do this. But if it was ever anything that I could choose myself to do, I would get an A, no problem. So like an example would be, I remember one, I think it was my first junior year in English class, maybe my second. We got to talk about any subject that we wanted to do, kind of like, what was your summer vacation? Like, what was your favorite thing that happened for your summer? And at that time, I was skateboarding and me and a bunch of my friends. So we drove about an hour away to go. Powell Peralta, the Bones Brigade, was on a tour. And so we went to go see them. So I was able to do, a talk, a presentation in front of the class about that. And I wrote it all down and everything. I was 1 minute in and I just folded up that piece of paper, put it to the side because I didn't need it. I was able to talk like I went overtime the way I was able to describe everything about that because it was something that I loved to do. Besides that, like that didn't click. Like again, I didn't know I had ADHD back then, so nothing clicked about why. I just figured like it was something I loved. So of course I would be able to talk about it. So, I was basically, people and then even myself were like, I'm just not good at school. I don't like school. Maybe I'm not very smart. Like I have common sense. No one ever, questioned my common sense. But like I guess like book smarts. No one, it was always just thought all the way through that didn't have book smarts. And I don't want to say that I was dumb because, teachers would tell my parents, like, I don't know what's going on with him. He's not dumb and he's a good kid, but we just can't get through to him. He doesn't want to do anything. So I kind of lay all that foundation down of what it was like when I had to do structured school work of like what I was told to do and not what I was able to choose to do. So all through my 20s, I never went to college. I just did manual labor, grunt work, worked at skiers in the wintertime. So I always had seasonal jobs, but like construction work, landscaping, things at golf courses. Like for a while, I would go back and forth from working at a golf course in the spring and summer to a ski area, late fall, winter, early spring. And so that's what I always want to do. But I was okay with that because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to ski. Like all I cared about was skiing. So that was the only way I would be able to do it is work at a ski area and then work someplace else in the springtime. After a while, that just wasn't working anymore. So like around 30-ish, I was really starting to get run down, working construction, and it would just beat at my body. I was always tired, back always bothered me. By that time I was also dating my now wife and living with her. And at one point in time, she went and did some, like non-credit stuff at the community college in New Mexico where we lived. And so she would get, the catalog sent. And so I'm like, I need to figure something out. And I started just like looking through it and I saw exercise science. And I was like, what the heck is exercise science? I've always been active. I've always been fascinated. I used to like work out a lot when I was younger and always still did do things. I used to love watching bodybuilding shows, always fascinated me. And just like the things that people do, I was always more drawn towards skateboarding and like action sports, because to me, like being able to jump down 20 stairs while your board's flipping underneath you and you're turning your body 180 degrees. To me, that is just like fascinating. What the human body is able to do and what the human body is capable of is really what got me into getting into exercise science. But I was like, what the hell is exercise science? So like I read the thing, the little description about what it was. And I was like, if I would have known this was a thing, I would have done this 15 years ago. But I had no idea. So I was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing. Talked to my girlfriend at the time, said, hey, I'm going to start taking some class at the community college on this exercise science. They had this program that I could take for 1 month and then I could go and get certified as a personal trainer. And then after that, I can go and start working towards my associates. So she was all for it. So I started taking that and I kid you not, I think I graduated high school with like maybe either it's like a 1.7 or 1.9 GPA. Like I said, I barely got by. Even my senior year, I almost got left back again. And then now I got to choose what classes I wanted to take. Did all the exercise science classes, did some math classes, everything that I wanted to take except for English. English I avoided like the plague. And I got straight A's. I'm talking like not only straight A's, but A pluses. Like I would be disappointed if I got less than a 95 on a test. I remember vividly, I got like a 99 on a test or maybe even 100 on a test, and the rest of the class didn't do too well. And somebody asked, hey, can you grade this on a curve? And the teacher looked at me and kind of like said, it is not going to make a difference for anybody else. She didn't say why, but she looked at me and I knew it was because I got, was like I said, either 99 or 100 on that test, like straight A's. I think the worst grade that I got on a test was like a 92, which was an A minus. So it actually brought I had a 4.0, brought it down to like a 3.97 or 3.96. Now I never finished. I wound up, just getting into being a personal trainer. My wife got pregnant, we moved and everything. So I wound up not getting my associate's degree in exercise science. But when I was done with school, I had a 3.96. And that also didn't include math classes, some computer classes and everything. Like literally the only thing that I didn't take were my English classes. But again, I just kind of wanted to go over, maybe some of these things would resonate with you as far as schooling, where not, considered not a good student, especially through high school, to then be able to actually pick and choose something that you want to do and excelling at it. So, if this was you, comment below, tell me your story. I'd love to hear it. If this is you and you never got checked to see if maybe you have ADHD and you've been kind of struggling with the same things I have, but excel at others, but, just kind of find yourself not, thinking you're not motivated and knowing that you're not dumb and knowing that you're actually smart and you can do things, but consider yourself not motivated and trying to figure out things why, maybe go talk to somebody that can give you an ADHD test. And maybe that's what's going on with you and you can get the help that you need. Again, comment below. Let me know anything about to relax your nervous system. If you have any tricks, I've been trying to take breaks and listening to music to kind of just chill myself out and kind of to cut out all the background noise, like noise canceling. I'm going to get some noise canceling ear plugs too that I can wear just to kind of keep everything a little bit more just, silent in the background and not hear a bunch of different things on full volume all around that, could definitely be taxing my nervous system. All right, so that's it for this video. God, these are going way longer than I thought. I'm figuring these were going to be 5-minute videos, but we're almost on 19 minutes now. So I'm going to cut it here because, again, I don't even know why I got to try to cut these things down. I'm not a 20-minute video watcher. I'm a 5-minute 4-video watcher, if you understand what I mean. If you know, you know. All right, so that's it. Till next time, hope you have a good day.